Hi, everyone. I realize now that this is the fifth one of this virtual yoga series that I have been hosted. Well, actually, Chris is the host, but that I have been instructing, that I have never once actually said my name and what I do here at Lord Fairfax. My name's Jane Lewinsky, and I teach yoga, PED 109, at Lord Fairfax Community College. And I also am holding these virtual yoga sessions for anyone who wants to show up now. I see we've got a few participants, or watch later on the college's YouTube channel. And I try to, every session, address a little bit different of an approach or an issue. What a lot of people complain to me about when they talk about yoga is hips and shoulders. So we're going to do some hip and shoulder work today. Nothing too harsh, because it just so happens that for other reasons I'm not feeling my strongest. So we're just going to muddle through, and I think it's a good opportunity to talk about what yoga is and is not. What yoga is not necessarily agreed on today, but a long time ago, there was a fair amount of consensus, and that consensus can be found in a book that is only found now in translations. The original one, if it ever did exist, cannot be found. And that is thanks dogs, that is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And Patanjali is someone who lived many thousands of years ago and is sort of believed to be the father of yoga as we know it. And in the sutras, the number one sutra, the first sutra of the book is Now Yoga. That's the translation. The second sutra is the restraint of the modifications of the mind stuff is yoga. I'll repeat that. The restraint of the modifications of the mind stuff is yoga. Well, what the heck does that mean is what I thought the first time I heard it. So the way I break it down is backwards. Is yoga, we start at the end of the sentence, is yoga. So we know that the rest of the sentence is a definition. Mind stuff. Mind stuff is all of the thoughts that you create in your life. Right now, this minute, while you're sharing this video with me or attending this video class, your mind might be saying, what the heck is Jane talking about? Or when's the part where we twist ourselves into pretzels? So whatever you're experiencing in any moment, so I'm looking around the room because I'm focusing on my experience now. I modify that by my thoughts. Those are the modifications of the mind stuff. I modify my now, this second, by what I'm thinking about this second. This is great, this food is delicious, I hate that person over there. All these thoughts that we create in our mind modify our experience. And the restraint of those modifications is yoga. When we are able to slow down that constant chatter, in yoga we refer to it as the monkey mind, the chitta vritti, the endless chatter in our head. When we're never going to make it go away. People also have these erroneous thoughts about meditation. I can't meditate because I'm always thinking. Everyone's always thinking. Meditation is about simply returning to either your mantra or the breath. It's not about stopping your thinking. You're not going to stop your thinking. No one, well, there may be a few people walking the earth or through history, but for the most part, no one restrains the modifications of the mind stuff all the time. We're constantly either thinking about the past, ruminating, which either tends to make us sad or angry, or we're projecting into the future. So we're creating anxiety. So in this sea of projection and rumination, sometimes we are here now, but we're still modifying that now by our thoughts about it. So I just wanted to bring that up because really the physical practice of yoga that we're going to engage in today and that we do in all of these virtual classes that we hold and the classes that we used to hold live in the studio at the school, that physical practice helps you maintain that focused attention. And the more you practice focused attention, the more you're going to notice what your thoughts are. That's just what happens. It's not something that you have to consciously work on. If you constantly work on paying attention, the rest will come. So if you keep using all of these coping strategies, such as twisting yourself into different positions, why does that help you? Because you're paying attention to what you're doing. It's the same way running, distance running, any activity. I'm sure most of you have heard of flow state. It's the same thing as getting so much into, I'm a kinesthetic learner, as I talk about the flow state. It's the same thing as any activity in which you're deeply involved. That becomes your focus. And the more you learn to do that, you're here right now. You're not paying attention. Sometimes you become so engaged in what you're doing, you don't even remember what's happening around you. I'm sure lots of you have read a book, anything like that. So I just wanted to go into that a little bit because I think that helps people not agonize about their situation. The more that you realize that you have control over your thoughts, it doesn't matter if you have control over other things. You control your response to those things. And that's how you alleviate some discomfort. It doesn't remove all the discomfort in your life. Right now, I'm feeling awkward. I told Chris before we started recording how strange it feels to me that this is where I instruct yoga now, in this awkward room with this goofy door and one picture and, pieces of my sofa over here downstairs in my basement, because it's the only place in my house where I have enough room to practice. We can keep the dogs away and have something akin to what a normal class would have been like. So I know I spent about 10 minutes on that and we haven't physically done anything, but maybe what you've done during this time is pay attention. Focus your attention on yourself, your thoughts, your responses, your reactions, your breath. If you're doing those things, you are practicing yoga. The restraint of the modifications of the mind stuff is yoga. I came today with my cozy socks, which I often bring but don't come wearing because I wanted to remember to mention them. I don't always put them on. But these are tools. These are yoga props that you can bring with you to class that will help you stay warm towards the end when we cool down. We're going to get ready to sit in staff. Staff, if you don't remember, is simply legs extended, body shaped like an L, glutes on the mat, and I'm going to turn to the left. I don't know what the heck that is. It looks like a piece of mat. My cats like chewing my mat. My dogs like chewing my mat. My cats love chewing my blocks. So there's pieces of everything all over the place. And I wrote my list of what I was going to do in pencil just to further confound myself. So when I sit in staff, I really pay attention to my glutes. And my toes are pointed up, but that doesn't really matter. It's just what I automatically do. I'm a foot flexor, but I could just as easily point. What really matters is where my glutes are and where my heels are. So I pay attention, I focus that attention on making sure that my weight is evenly distributed between, I'm going to keep my shirt on. It'll come off eventually and I'll be in my tank, but I'm a little chilly this afternoon. So I ease my glutes towards the back of the mat. Why do I do that? Because I like the feeling of engaging the backs of my calves and hamstrings. So by easing my glutes that way and easing my heels this way, I intensify the stretch of simply sitting here. Simply sitting here is a stretch. Think about it. If I was standing up, I would look like this. Don't join me here. So this staff is a forward bend, because this is what it would look like if I was standing up. And this is what it would look like if I was laying down. I wanted to make that point because that's another thing I really want people to pay attention to. When we have these practices, there may be things you don't feel comfortable doing. You don't feel like standing up when I'm standing up. You can find the same shape. I just made my body into the same shape, standing, sitting, and laying down. You can use other moves that are the same shape and just insert them in places where we do something else. So just remember that. Again, it's about focused attention. Pay attention to what feels good to you and make the poses fit you. Don't worry about fitting the pose. So I'm easing my glutes backwards. I'm coming a little bit towards the back of the mat, and I'm going to just engage in your basic forward bend. We're going to warm up by using the big muscles in the body. I like to do that. When I raise my arms, you don't have to, but if you do, not up in the ears, please, shoulders down and back, and I'm going to gently exhale forward. Some of you may immediately go for a strap. I like to wrap the strap and make my arm as long as possible, make the strap as short as possible so that my arm is extending as much as possible. But everybody's different. If you're using a strap, use it your way. Keep the shoulders not here. So even when we're coming forward, we lead with the pectorals, with the chest, with a flat back. And then when we find that forward bend, you can go ahead and let go a little bit. It's okay. Just don't let those shoulders crawl up into the ears. We're going to ease back up. And we're going to repeat that. Exhale, forward fold. Now, from here, we're going to pop right into, and I think we've done that before in these afternoon classes, we're going to pop right up into our incline plane. So we're going to inhale, sweep the arms up, place them a little bit behind or next to our glutes with the fingertips pointing forwards. And we're just going to press up and pull your toes towards the mat. Pull your toes towards the mat. Then pull your ankles away from your toes, knees away from ankles, hips away from knees, and shoulders away from hips. And now we're stretching, extending the front of our body. Exhale, have a seat. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, come forward. I think we did this sometime in the year 2021, actually. And you'll notice this is an immediate release. Why is that? It's because we're stretching and contracting opposite muscle groups, opposing muscle groups. Let's do it again. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, press. Why do I say inhale here, exhale here? That doesn't mean change your breath. If you're in the middle of a breath, don't change your breath to fit me. I'm just getting you used to the idea of exhale, have a seat, and come forward. Exhale. So right here, I'm contracting. I exhale on the contraction, inhale on the expansion. So now we're going to do one leg. You're going to take your left foot and put it anywhere that feels good on your right leg. So some of you are going to be here, some of you here. Don't put it directly on the knee, either above or below the knee. Readjust those glutes. And there goes the top. The top. We're going to do the exact same thing with one leg. So we, not here, arms optional, but if you bring them up, not here, and exhale forward. Use the strap if you need to. And just readjust those glutes. Make sure, no matter how far forward you come, if your glutes start coming off the mat, you're in too deep. Back out and make sure you can always feel. Glutes are the roots. We always want both glutes on the mat in a seated pose. Now check it out. We're going to take our left hand, sweep it up, fingers point away this time, and exhale, press up. One long line, fingertip to toe. So we think wrist, fingertip, wrist, elbow, shoulder, hip, knee, ankle, one long line. And we breathe here, and we hang here, and we extend, and then we have a seat. Exhale, sweep the left hand towards. Everybody's going to be different here. You may be here, you may be here, towards the right foot, wherever that feels good to you. And you're going to hang here, and you're just going to let go, let go, let go, let go, surrender. And when you're ready, guess what? Why do we do it twice? Exhale, fingers point away, and up we go. Pressing down on the left shin, pressing down through the left hand. Why do we do it twice? Because our muscle memory allows us, for whatever reason, to go deeper into the pose the second time. It just happens to be the way it works. When you're ready, left hand approaches right foot. It doesn't matter how deeply you go. It matters that it feels good. And it matters that these two glutes are still rooted to the mat. I cannot impress how important that is. So we're going to back out. And before we do the other side, we're going to twist. So we're going to take this left foot. Some people are more comfortable here. Some people are more comfortable here. Guess what your determining factor is? If I put my foot on this side of my knee and my glutes start coming up, bring it back. We're going to take our right arm, not here, and we're going to hook our elbow around our knee. If that doesn't work for you, just take your right hand and place it on the outside of your left thigh. And you're going to gently use your core to turn. Don't turn your head. Turn your torso first, and then allow your head and shoulders to follow. You can either take your left hand and place it behind you, use it for a little lever, help you twist a little more deeply. You can wrap it around your back, and if you're super flexy, some of you can thread that arm right through there and find the other hand. Those days might be over for me, but I'm not worried about it, because what I look for in my practice is to feel good, not to worry about what I look like, but how I feel. So many students say to me, I don't think I'm doing this pose right. When you're ready, unwrap yourself and gently take an opposing twist. Whatever that looks like, however you get there, just use your torso to swing you in the other direction for a couple breaths. And when you're ready, shake it out. The other foot, which in this case is our right. See, I'm readjusting my glutes to make sure my weight is evenly distributed on them both. And I come forward to find my forward fold, making sure the shoulders are not hunching up into the ears. And I'm just chilling, letting it go. And notice when I inhale, it backs me out of the pose a little bit. And then I exhale into maybe a little bit more deeper version. You may or may not do that. I just find that it makes it very enjoyable. When you're ready, take that right hand, fingers point away. See, it's right next to my glutes. And then boom, up I go. And I'm breathing. Fingertip, wrist. It doesn't mean they are. It's what I imagine. I can't really see myself very well in the screen, but I'm imagining that my fingertip, wrist, elbow, shoulder, hip, knee, ankle, all one long line. Exhale, have a seat, sweep the right arm and approach the left foot. Oh, that feels good. And I'm just twisting it around a little bit because it feels good to me. Because you don't have to stay static. If you find a pose and it doesn't feel good, adjust it a little bit. Let's do it again. Inhale up, exhale, press. And pay attention. Pay attention to what you feel like, not just what your body feels like, but what you feel like while you're exploring what your body feels like. Exhale, have a seat, and let it go. I'm getting mega thirsty, so I'm shortly going to take a quick stop for a drink as I back out. Right foot either inside or outside of the knee. Left arm comes up, not here, here, and we hook it around. I almost guarantee it's gonna feel different on one side than it does on the other. I don't twist anywhere near as deeply this way. Tomorrow may be different. Every day is different. Every person is different. And both sides of the body are different. And after you've been there for a couple seconds, sometimes you find yourself readjusting the pose. That's why we stay in the pose for 5 breaths. Because once our stretch reflex kicks in, we can tweak the pose a little bit. And when you're ready, just a pose, give it a little twist on the other side. Boom. What you don't want to do when you're in a seated twist like this, use your hand as a lever, but don't do this. You're not laying into the pose. Now, there's days you want to put more or less effort. So it doesn't mean you want to push yourself so hard that yoga, your physical practice, becomes a chore. That's not what you're looking for. But you also don't want to phone it in. Why? Because you won't experience any results at all if you don't make a certain level of effort. Okay, single leg, blah, 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 blah. All right, that's about all I had seated, I guess. Oh, you know what? This is a hip and shoulder one. So I meant to do this at the beginning. I talked a little bit. So we're just going to do a little shoulder roll here. Because I'm extremely fallible and human like you, roll them the other way. And then I'm going to face you. I'm just sitting in easy pose here. Remember, easy pose is any pose that's easy for you with both glutes evenly distributed on the mat. And I'm going to take my right hand, I'm going to push away against an imaginary force, and I'm going to tip my head to the left. So you should feel a nice something happening here. If it's not intense enough for you, just gently place your left arm on your head. Don't pull. The weight of your left arm will be enough to really open that sternocleidomastoid right up. And guess what? This way. Same deal, other side. Head tilts to the right. We press away with the left. Want to go deeper? Just take the arm and place it on there. And now, I'm going to show you something that requires a strap. It's impossible to do this without a strap. If you don't have a strap, if you got a long sleeve shirt, I've used shirts and sweaters so many times I can't tell you when I lend my straps out. A robe tie, whatever it is, we're going to place this strap on our thumbs, and we're going to gently ease our thumbs apart about shoulder width. We're going to try to make sure there's still a fair amount of strap on either side. So just to make it a little easier, I'm going to come out of that tailor seat that I was in, and now I'm going to lift my shoulders, not way up, just about an inch to give them a little bit more rotation. And watch what we do here. Are you still with me, Chris? Chris opened up the class and he had to go. I don't think in Zoom I've ever showed this one. So I reach a certain point and my arms won't go back anymore. So notice what I'm doing. As I move my hands along the strap, my arms go back. I strongly recommend that when you practice this, you do it as slowly as you can possibly stand. Nothing. I have been practicing flexibility for 60 years, and there is not one single move that I have ever encountered. I'm about to touch the floor, and when I do, I'm going to gently come back. And it's so bizarre. When you come back the other way, it's challenging in totally different parts of your body because we use different muscles to bring our arms back up than we do to bring them down. And if you do this every day, every single day, twice, for 3 weeks, you will be able to reach much higher than you did before. It's quite remarkable how much additional flexibility This allows your rotator cuff muscles. So we're going to do it again really gently. Just tap. And whenever you get there, because this is a hip and shoulder show. So I can't really do justice to our shoulders without doing our rotator cuff stretch. This is not yoga. This is not a yoga pose. This is not a yoga move. I learned it in a yoga class from an intelligent yoga instructor that understood that every single thing you teach in a yoga class does not have to be traditional yoga. 40 years ago, as a goof with my friends, I laid on the floor and made myself as long as I could and stretched my arms way over my head and pointed my toes really far. And I said, look, I just invented a new yoga pose, pencil. And we all laughed and laughed and laughed. And 40 years later, about 5 years ago, I went into a gym class at a gym, a fitness class at a gym. And sure enough, what did the instructor say? Let's all do a pencil stretch. And I just could not contain myself because I thought I made that up when I was like 18 years old. As a goof with my friends, we were just, playing around. Okay, so that should feel very good, but your arms might feel a little weird. So inhale them open, exhale, cross them. And what are we doing here? We're doing eagle arms. We're bringing the bottom hand towards our face, and then the top hand, this might be where it is for you, or it might come together. It might come here, wherever it is. Find where it's comfortable, and then ease your elbows down towards your navel and relax in your eagle arms. This will feel very, very good after your rotator cuff stretch. Inhale them open. Remember which arm was on top, and do the same thing the other way. And I guarantee once again, it's going to feel and look different. You notice that most in yoga with twists. Twisting poses such as this, my arms are twisted, are where you notice the difference between one side of your body and the other. And the more you practice, the more practice that you engage in your own personal yoga practice, the more you'll become aware of the imbalances in your body. Are you ever going to completely cure them? No. But the more you practice, you will be able to address some of those imbalances and increase flexibility to some of those joints. Congratulations, me. What a great idea I had, writing all that in pencil. Okay, so we're going to come to hero now. Now, we've discussed hero in the past. In hero, I sit on my heels and bring my glutes as close, sort of in between my heels a little bit. From here, you can see. And on a good, today, they're going right to the floor. My heels are outside. Now, some people are so flexy, they internally rotate so much that their feet can come out in what we used to call a W sit. This is my hero. Yours may be here. Some days my hero is here, every day different. And some people like to hero like this because it's too deep of a stretch for the quadricep. And if that's the case, just gently ease yourself with you know what? I forgot, I have a bolster back there with blocks or a blanket rolled up or a bolster. A person who has less quadricep flexibility might want to start. And I've got a bunch of big pillows here. It doesn't have to be a yoga bolster. So you can get more comfortable here. Why do we want to address this? Because this hip flexor area is so tight for so many people. So wherever it is for you, I'm going to show you a deeper, more intense version. If you are very comfortable doing this, very comfortable. If this comes very easily and you want to go a little deeper, you can make a back bend out of your hero like this. Now, what you're looking for is to make sure that your knees are not starting to come off the mat, and mine are a little bit. So if that happens, you kind of got to back up, sort of start backing out of it into a little bit of a back bend. But if you feel really good and your knees are staying on the mat, some of you are just going to come completely flat. And some of you can even start, I'm not ready today, but some days you can start looking at putting this foot. See where I'm going? Up here with the elbow, with both arms. But today, my body's saying no. I wanted to show everybody that. That's called diamond. It's kind of an advanced pose, but I wanted to show it because it's a super hip opener. That is more of an internal rotator. We talked about this a little bit last time. This is external rotation. This is internal rotation. So hero is an internally rotated pose. I'm a natural external rotator, but that doesn't mean that I don't practice doing things that I'm not, I hate this word, that I'm not as good at. That's not really the word, but that don't come naturally to me. I practice them, but I don't force them. So I wanted to address that before we come to tabletop. And that's what we're going to do now. Eyes at the elbows, forward. If you need to turn your hands out a little bit before the eyes of your elbows, feel natural turning forward until you get enough wrist flexibility with a lot of practice. But once you're there, take a couple of cat-cows. And we're really going to address some child variations here. So when you're ready, ease back to child. I don't know if you've noticed, one thing we haven't done yet, we haven't stood up. And I think we might, but I'm not sure if we ever get there because it's already 5 after 3. So that might be next time. If you got a block or a couple of blocks, you can try this while you're in child. This is an extended child. If you prefer your child here, you can still do this. Just take your forehead, no matter where you are, and just gently press your forehead into the block and roll it. And you'll feel all kinds of cool stuff happening in your neck and shoulders. That's just the kinetic chain. Now, if you don't have a block, you can use like a phone. There are no such thing as phone books anymore. A big soft cover book, or you can press right into the mat. But it works a little better if you're not as close to the mat, and it's a little bit more porousy. Even a hard pillow would work. And it feels very good. I'm going to show you a couple of other child variations that we've discussed in the past, but I really want you to play with them. So I'm going to exaggerate it. I'm pressing the heels of my palms individually towards the top of the mat. And I can do that while my forehead is all the way down. Now, maybe your child doesn't work like that. Maybe your child is still here, or maybe you're stacking the fists. So you can't play like that. But if you've got something to rest your forehead on, you can still play with your shoulders and really allow them to move around and loosen up. Now, of course, the opposite of pressing away with the heel of the palm is pressing away with the fingertips. And just kind of roll the shoulders back and forth. And it's going to feel very, very good. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring our elbows sort of right, almost right underneath our shoulders. And then we're going to take, I'm going to show you from the front so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take my hands, and you got to keep doing it over and over again. I always have students that want to do it once and stop. Keep going until your hands can wrap totally around your elbows without the elbows moving. It's really important because that's how you prep for headstand. If your shoulders are too far apart, your headstand is never going to happen. So get used to keeping your shoulders really close together. Now you have two options. You can place your entire forearm on the mat with your flat hand, or you can clasp your hands. My knees are pretty, and I have not moved my elbows. After I found the place for them, I kept them there. My knees are pretty close to my elbows, and I'm going to inhale. And as I exhale, I'm going to put my chin down and come back. Inhale out, touch, and through the exhale, I come back. Inhale, exhale. This is Dolphin. If you've clasped your hands, now switch them, put the other thumb on top. Now, Dolphin can also be a much more challenging pose. Flatten the hands again or keep them clasped. I find it easier to flatten the hands here. My elbows still have not moved. And now I'm going to turn my toes under as if I'm in downward facing dog. I'm going to keep my entire arm and hand on the mat. You can clasp them if you want, but I find this way better. My thumbs are touching each other. And I'm going to press my chest back between my arms and then walk my legs towards my chest. And I'm breathing. And I'm pressing. This is a challenging pose. You may already find that you've had enough of it. And when you're ready, down you come. And press back into child. We're going to do it again, so I'm not moving my elbows so that I can still have them exactly where I want them. So we're going to rest for a couple breaths. And then we're going to come back. You can stay in Dolphin at the knees if you want. And it's pretty challenging for me. I'm kind of tired today. I'm not feeling my best. It's making me really tired. But Dolphin is one of the few poses that makes you both stronger and more flexible in your shoulders. It stacks them in a way so that once you are ready to, we're not going to do it today, but come up here, you already know, because your elbows are exactly where they belong. You already are halfway there. You've already stepped hip on top of shoulder, and then it's just a question of legs. Plus, pressing the chest back like this, whether you're down here in Dolphin or up here, really helps create flexibility in the shoulder girdle. So the more you practice Dolphin, the better it's going to feel. Maybe not while you're doing it. While you're doing it, you may be very challenged. I'm quite breathless now. But it really, really leaves you with a good feeling. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. I'm not going to get anywhere near as deep as I wanted to get. I have like 40 things on this list. We're going to get to about 12 of them. So when you're ready, we're going to turn those toes under. We're in tabletop again. We're just going to press back to downward facing dog. We don't really have time for any kind of salutation of the sun. But remember, if you want to just get all of the muscles, you can just move from downward facing dog to cobra or upward facing dog. So you can just go back, inhale up, exhale down. And that ought to open you up quite nicely. Now we're going to prepare for pigeon. Hanging dog if you want, or drop to tabletop. I'm afraid I absolutely must have a drink. Even if you're not the instructor and you're not talking in a yoga class, if you don't have your water with you, you're doing yourself a big disservice. Water is so, so, so important in your class. So we're going to come right back to our downward facing dog. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take our left leg and we're going to lift it as high as we possibly can. Now check this out. If you like, you can even come up on your right toes. And if it feels good, bend your left knee and start looking under your left arm. So you're really twisting deeply to the left. And you should feel the whole left side of your body opening up a lot. Like you'll feel a stretch all the way through from your left shoulder to your left hip. Then when you're ready, straighten that left leg, look between the hands and slide your knee in there. Boom, just like that. Walk your right walk your right toes back a little bit until it feels right. And then kind of adjust your hips. For many people, this is extremely uncomfortable. Pillow, folded blanket, block goes under the left glute so that it's not so close to the floor until you're really, really comfortable. And over the months, you may be able to go more deeply. I'm showing deeper versions of this pose, but that does not mean, I'm working towards that. You're looking for the point of gentle tension, the edge. That's where we practice in yoga. So everyone's different. Some days when I practice pigeon, my heel is way up here under my arm, just as if I was doing seated thread the needle, right? Or cradle the baby. Some days it's way up here. Other days, check this out. It's way down here. It's right now, it's pressing against my right hip. So some days it's way up here, some days it's way down here. Every day different. What matters is that wherever you are on that given day, it feels really good. And then depending on how you feel, you may stay here, you may stack your fists and go a little deeper, or you may allow your entire chest and forehead to relax on the mat. It should feel very, 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 very good. Delicious. If it doesn't, inhale and back out the same way you came in. Back out. Take the knee out a little bit until you find where you're comfortable. And then exhale and let go. So wherever that is for you, whether it's way down here or whether it's way, way, way up here, find where it's comfortable. And then if it feels good, move your right toes back a little bit more and see how that's kind of nice. Why? Because once again, exactly what we were doing in Diamond, it opens up the front of this hip flexor where why are people so tight there? There's a couple of reasons. One of them is because we sit down way too much. Now check it out. We're already halfway up. Come back up a little more, turn around and look at your right foot. And if it feels good, bend your right knee. If that feels good, look for it with your right hand. Now check this out. Let's say you can't find it, but you want to try it. You can take your strap and look for it this way, and then start moving the hand towards the leg. Let's say you want to go even deeper. This isn't a challenge for you and you want to go deeper. You look for the elbow. And then depending on the day, maybe you even find the other hand. Every day different. Some days this happens when I'm practicing. Other days it doesn't. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you what does matter. What matters is that my chest is lifted. I'm seated up tall. It's better to be here and lifted than to be way up here and all twisted down. If your head is coming down, your chin is approaching your chest when you're in a pose, you're in too deep. You always want to be lifted, tall, elongated. And guess what? When you're ready, wrists go right under shoulders. I'm way, way back. I'm off the mat. Wrists go under shoulders, and we're going to take this left foot, bring it to match the right, and we're going to pop it right back up into downward facing dog. Now really enjoy this. Really allow yourself eyes of the elbows forward, and allow your chest to move between your arms, just like we did in Dolphin, towards your thighs. Bend your knees real deeply and try to press your chest onto your thighs. It should feel super good. Now, guess what we're doing? Inhaling the right leg up nice and high. We're going to start looking under the right arm. We're going to start bending and twisting, and maybe even bending that right knee, maybe coming up on those left toes. And now I'm feeling the whole right side of, feels really good. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to look between my hands, straighten that right leg, and boom, there it goes. Walk my left toes back a little bit. What I do there when I walk the toes back is it allows me to bring my hips and shoulders into one straight line. Hips and shoulders, one straight line. And then wherever my right foot is, whether it's here, way up here, or down here, I'm going to gently begin approaching the mat. And if this is as far as you want to go, stay here. You'll know, because you're feeling a very intense stretch, deep, 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 in what's called your piriformis, a deep muscle in the outside of your glute. So if it's too intense, remember, lock it up. Use a blanket, a pillow, whatever works to take some of that tension out. But if it feels good, go ahead down. Pigeon is so good for you. And you can even do some, hey, Sprucey, what are you doing? I don't know if you can see my cat. One of my cats is here. He's my very glamorous one. I don't know if he showed up in the frame or not, but I have a very beautiful cat that happens to be here. So there's some cool things you can do when you're in pigeon, and of course you would want to do them on both sides. You can thread the needle with your shoulders. Boom. And of course, then you would have done it on the other side too. But I'm just showing you now because we don't have that much time. You can thread the needle the other way, and this whole time my legs are still in the same position. My legs are still in my basic pigeon for the day. Now I'm going to back out, same way that we did before, and I'm going to look back. My goodness, I'm kind of falling out. Okay, and now I'm going to look back at my left leg, and that immediately opens up that left hip flexor, starts stretching it out. I want to go deeper, all I do is bend the knee. I want to go deeper than that. All I do is look for it with my hand. Of course, use the strap to do that if you like. And now, depending on the day, sometimes you look for the elbow. Am I going to find the elbow on this side? It's questionable because, that's as deep as I want to go today. And it doesn't matter. What matters is that my chest is lifted, that I feel really good. It does not matter how deep you go into any yoga pose. What matters is how good it feels. That's what matters. And guess what? Wrists under shoulders, boom, one more time. Oh my gosh, here's another piece of block. Every time I use my blocks, pieces come out because my cats, I hide them now. They're in a room they can't get to. But before I discovered how much they loved them, it was already too late. Now, and a whole bunch of other stuff on my list, and it's 21 minutes after 3. So bring yourself down and rest in child. And while you're resting, I want to go a little more deeply with that concept that I was talking about earlier. So this might not be a spot where you would want to follow along, but this is the same as we did standing splits, I think, a couple weeks ago. If we didn't, someone please email me and say, Jane, you did not teach us standing splits. Is the same as this right? That is the same as, well, I have the other leg forward, is the same as this, is the same as this. So as we're preparing for Shavasana, the reason I mention that now is because we just practiced pigeon from a standing position. But in other lessons, we've learned this, cradle the baby. We've learned this, figure 4. Notice anything? They're all the same. They're all the same pose. When we reach behind us at the end of pigeon, it's exactly the same as the balance we were going to practice today that I didn't get a chance to really show you, and that's dancer's pose. I always come off the mat for balances, dancer's pose, and I'm shaking. I'm really shaking today. Is here. And if you think about it, it's exactly the same thing that we did in pigeon. Now, for me, this side is harder. I can't just, because I mangled my knee so many times about 8 years ago that I don't go as deeply on this side. So I have to look. And some days I can't even pick it up. So if I couldn't, of course, I would use the strap. But we're getting late. So here's your dancer. And what are you doing? You're doing the same thing to your quadricep that you did at the end of pigeon, that you also did in diamond. So remember that. If your instructor demonstrates a pose that your body doesn't want to do that day, you can do a different version or a more gentle version and get that same effect. There's more than one way to stretch a quadricep or a hamstring. So we're all going to come, however we get there, to our reclined position. Now, when we sit, glutes are the roots. When we stand, feet are the roots. And when we recline, shoulders are the roots. So the thing you want to make sure now that doesn't leave the mat is your shoulders. And you're just going to ease your knees up if it feels good and you like it. Ease your knees up. Approach your chest with them. Rock them if it feels good. What are you doing? Spruce. You're too cool to come near me. And when you're ready, inhale. Your legs up if that feels good and you like it. I often do this at the end. I usually like to include a twist towards the end of class. Today, our twist is going to involve taking our right ankle and placing it not on top, above your left knee. And then gently bend your knee and bring it as close as comfortably possible to your chest so that you're sort of trying to bring your right foot towards your left shoulder. And then you can just rock it if you like. And notice, even if you barely move, as soon as you start making these little micro adjustments with your knees, you feel the whole hip opening up. You can do all kinds of things with your hands if you want to intensify. You can take your foot. There's all kinds of cool things you can do. And I really, really encourage you to experiment and play. I mean, all yoga poses were invented because someone said, hey, I wonder what happens if I take my left ankle, put it right here, and then, hey, that feels pretty good. Let's try this. Let's thread our hand through. I mean, that's how this all came to be. People just played around with their own bodies and found results that were appealing to them. So, of course, you can do that. I mean, there's a million ways that you can. But notice one thing that has not moved, my shoulders are still completely in contact with the mat. Why? Because that helps me to allow my body to sink in and let go. And when you're ready, if you like, make that long, skinny pencil stretch that me and my friends thought was a big joke in 1978. In my basement in the house where I grew up in Homedale, New Jersey. Look, it was really funny. And then, 40 years later, I hear some instructor say it. So you just never know. Just people playing around and fun. So it's the one time it's okay if your shoulders touch your ears, let go. Make that great big snow angel we always make. Extend, 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 extend as far. Make it the biggest snow angel you ever made and then let go. On your inhalations, your belly expands. On your exhalations, your navel gets closer to your spine, and your spine gets closer to the mat. And your eyes are closed. You're not moving. You are floating away. So you're going to stay in Shavasana and corpse pose for at least 3 to 4 more minutes. You're just going to stay, chill, relax, let go. You're breathing. You're exhaling. Every time you exhale, your whole body sinks a little more deeply into the mat. In a perfect world, for every 20 minutes of physical yoga practice, we like about 5 minutes of deep Shavasana. The longer you lay down, the more you're going to notice the immediate benefits to your body. Plus, you also are able to develop the muscle memory of relaxation. By laying down after your practice, you're literally teaching your body how to relax. Because many of us walk through life and we have forgotten what it feels like, what our body feels like when it lets go. This deeply relaxed person is the real you. No matter where you go, who you're with, what you're doing, or what is happening to you, you can always return here to the peace that is you. Whether you're seated or reclined, I hope you'll join me in either a physical or a mental bow to yourselves. And thank yourselves for taking this time to honor and care for your beautiful bodies, your brilliant Lord Fairfax Community College minds, your loving hearts, and your radiant spirits. As always, we say namaste. I honor the light in you that is the same as the light in me. And thank you so much for practicing with me today. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. That means peace, baby, to you and all the world. And have a great day. I don't know if Chris is still with us, so I guess I'm going to end this class.